Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado Springs Real Estate Authority. Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. She's an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot, and she enjoys all that the Springs has to offer with her amazing team. Barb, always great to be talking to you. We're getting into the holiday season, and we air the Real Estate Voice show every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb Schlinker, Schlinker, on most of the popular podcast platforms, iHeart Radio, etc. Every week, the Real Estate Voice covers great information about people's primary assets, and that would be the home. Barb, what will we be talking about today?
Well, I'm excited about today's show just because this is holiday season. It's Christmas Eve today. The next weekend is going to be New Year's weekend. So everybody's kind of in holiday mode. But if you have to move, it's actually a very good time to think about making a move. December has actually been my second best month of the year for sales.
Wow.
And people are moving right now. It's just a little different than it was a year ago this time. It's not bidding wars on every home. So you really need a professional that helps you get your home ready for sale so you can get top dollar when you're ready. And now is a good time. The Fed has promised everybody they're going to keep stepping on the gas, raising interest rates until he gets inflation down to 2%. And I have no idea when that's going to happen. So the first segment, we're going to talk about the top 8 real estate predictions for 2023, not just by me, but by some of the professionals in the industry. The next topic we've talked about before, but I think it's worth going over again, how to increase your credit score fast. So now more than ever, it's very, very important to have a strong credit score. It's not just for getting loans. Sometimes they use it for insurance or applying for apartments. So we'll dive into that topic. And then also the next topic is going to be about home sellers and whether or not they should worry about buyers with a low down payment or buyers that have a house to sell and how we solve those problems. And then we'll talk about our solutions for that Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty for those people that have a house to sell. And of course, I love talking about our hot news listings. Richard?
You've got it. We're talking with Barb Schlinker as we wrap up 2022. There have been many changes in the real estate market, both nationally and here locally. So, Barb Schlinker, what are the top 8 real estate market predictions that you have for next year, 2023, for the Colorado Springs area?
Well, I think, we're going to see some slowing down. The volume of sales, according to Redfin, is going to drop down on a national basis to 4.3 million sales. So that when we were in the boom, they were talking about 6 million sales, just to put that in perspective. And we're seeing the volume of sales in this local market drop down to 2018 levels. So what they are predicting is that they think the sales will drop off, even maybe as down to 2011 levels, but it's not going to crash the prices so much. We're going to see the interest rates correct just a little bit. And if you look at what were the sales back in 2018, we're probably seeing the same volume of sales in this year as we did in 2018. And 2018 was not a bad year. It was a pretty good year for sales, actually. The prices were kicking up. It was more of a seller's market. What we are seeing right now is a lot of buyers are asking for concessions, meaning asking the seller to pay their loan closing costs. Now, the reason they're doing that is what they're doing is asking the lender, can I pay like 1 or 2 discount points and buy the interest rate down so my payment is more affordable? So don't be surprised at that. We went for about 4 years where we were not getting requests for the seller to pay the buyer's loan closing costs, but we know how to negotiate that for you so you both win. If you look back in 2011, there were probably half the sales than what we saw in 2018. So I don't think it's going to crash like it did between 2011 and actually 2008 and 2011, only because it's a different environment. The people that purchased homes since that time all now have to qualify for the payment. Even if they got an adjustable rate mortgage, they have to qualify for the higher of those rates. And you couple that with a larger buying population. So the millennials and the Gen Xers and the Gen Ys, I lose track of all the terms. Those are people aged like 20 to 40, okay? Those folks are a much bigger population than even the baby boomer population. So I don't really agree that we're going to see a crash. We have already seen prices correct from the boom, on average about $30,000. Okay, but that's all right. The prediction number 2, and what Redfin and some of these other companies are saying, is that mortgage rates are actually going to come down a little bit. Right now, they're hovering probably in the mid 6s, I believe. They might see them down a little bit less than that. And you are seeing the buyers asking for those closing costs to cover their interest rate buy downs. As far as home prices, will they go up? I don't know. We're still going up. We have a long way to go before the prices go down, in my view. Over the past 12 months, the average sales price is up 10.7%, even with this correction that we've seen in the last 6 months. The median or middle sales price went up 7.5%. And that's actually more like an even or a balanced market. So real estate is very, very local. So I go to conferences all the time to improve my business. And it's interesting talking to people that are in different locations and what their markets are doing. It's not the same. So like Florida is still booming. California is crashing. So it's different, but here we're kind of pretty much stable. And then if you take a look at, this is kind of hard to see, but historic sales prices going back to 2012, over the long term, we've seen the trend go up, 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 up. Yeah, there might be a few dips here and there. Okay, as far as the average sales price by month, even the same with the median sales price, the trend is up. If you stretch that out even 40 years, you're going to see an increase in prices, with the exception of the meltdown, which happened between 2008 and probably 2011. And that had to do with very bad government policies, that they were giving loans to people that did not qualify. And that was changed by law in 2011 with the Dodd-Frank Act, which means that people now getting a loan actually have to prove that they qualify for the loan. So we're seeing more people with equity now than ever before. So I really don't see a big surge in foreclosures, although there are going to be some here and there. So I think it's okay, not time to panic, except that we may walk back some of the 52.8% value increase that we have seen in the last 4 years. And just to think about that, it's mind-boggling. If you look back over time in a normal market, an annual appreciation is 4 to 7%. We were seeing an average annual appreciation of over 11% for the last 4 years. That's a big number. And one thing that's been surprising to me, though, is the kind of rapid shift that we had. When the Fed started raising rates back in March, they were 3%. They went all the way up to over 7%. Now they're kind of walking back just a little bit into the mid 6s. And I think some of that has to do with supply and demand. So, you know, we're seeing more of a balanced market, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean the prices are going to crash. It just means that when you decide to sell your home, you're going to have to prepare right, price it realistically, and hire the agent that knows how to promote the home to get you top dollar. And we're hoping that we could be that agent for you. So I'm Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been here in the real estate business in the Colorado Springs area since 1997. I know this market very, very well. I think it's going to be fine. It's not time to worry. We're We're not going to have a rash of foreclosures like we did during the meltdown. And the reason is A, people have equity, and B, people that bought those homes qualified for them. And we don't any longer have these crazy exotic, they call them liar loans back then, as I recall. I don't know if you remember those, Richard, the liar loans.
Well, yeah, I mean, they would approve anything, and they had to know that some of these people, especially those balloon things, that in a year or two, when the rates went up, people couldn't afford these homes.
Oh, yeah. And I remember talking to lenders. They said, oh, don't worry. You don't have to qualify. Just tell the bank you make $100,000 a month.
Jeez.
And they'll give you any loan you want, 100% financing, 80% first mortgage, 20% second mortgage, you're good to go. Buy anything you want. Well, with the 1% interest rates, which were also teaser rates that they offered, people were biting on that and taking on those loans. And then when they adjusted and their payment more than doubled, that's when the whole mess started to implode. You can't get those loans anymore, fortunately. So we're seeing, the average price did drop in the last 6 months, just a tiny bit. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker. And to be honest, you need to know that Barb is the only person I would ever recommend to you or any of my friends. I've done that repeatedly. She's always performed for them. The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach Barb and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking about the shift in real estate market and the sudden shift in the market. What are the industry predictions that you think are going to ring true this next year, Barb?
Well, like in any market, it's all about supply and demand. So our supply went up when the rates started going up, but it's still nowhere near the levels it was back in 2010, 2011. We're not even close to that. So our current supply is up, but not nearly as much as it was even in 2007 before the meltdown. They really kind of walked back the number of homes that they were building after the meltdown took place. And so I think that what's going to happen, and now the builders right now, the problem that builders are having is they're having a lot of cancellations, mostly because the buyers are uncertain about whether or not they can afford that home when it's finally finished because the rates are going up. But, they're starting to offer incentives like interest rate buy downs and things like that. So they're finding ways to make it work, and they're slowing down the volume of what they're building now, even though it's at a lower rate than it was back in 2005, just to make sure they don't get stuck with homes. Redfin's also predicting that rents might fall a little bit. Some people might, opt to rent instead of buying, which I don't think is a great idea personally. But because we have overall more demand, we have more demand for households. We're seeing builders focus on multifamily homes instead of single family homes. The investor activity, that was another thing that caused this boom, is we didn't just have live in the home type buyers buying homes during the boom. We also had investors coming in. I remember presenting offers of investors paying way over what a retail buyer would pay. So they've either stopped buying or really walked back how much they're offering, but they still have buckets of money. They're going to get back in there when there's a correction. So I don't think we're having a problem right now. And as far as local predictions, I really believe that pricing and preparation absolutely is key to get top dollar. It's hard to look backwards at similar sales and get that price right. So you need an experienced agent that really knows the market, that can give you trends of what's happening now, give you really good education so you can make a great decision on positioning your home to sell it for top dollar. Richard?
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always contact her at 719-301-3900 or check it out at barbhasthebuyers.com. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to increase your credit scores and how to do that fast. Stay tuned.